Hi guys, Alex here. Just a quick content warning for this week's episode. It is, it's your usual stuff. It's regular sort of light-hearted nonsense from us. But because we're discussing a franchise where a sort of recurring theme seems to be child death, if you are, if you're sensitive to that, and if that's something you're not particularly interested in hearing about, even in our way, not that we're making light of it, but this franchise sort of features it prominently. It might be just worth skipping the episode because it is, throughout the description of it. So sorry for that if that is something that's going to be an issue. But regular services resume next week anyway. We'll be back to news and reviews. But if not, episode's coming up now.
Dinosaur man.
Hello and welcome to the Dinosaur Man podcast. I'm Andy Hughes. I'm here with Alex Hudson.
Ooh, my little weeping one.
Oh.
When you're gonna abduct my kid, Sharona. I meant Larona. La Larona.
La Larona.
Yeah, I changed too many words and I got really confused. Because I realised that abduct my kids doesn't fit into give me some time.
I was excited because I was wondering how you're going to get Conjuring into my Sharona.
Ooh, you make my motor run. My children run. They're running out of the door, Larona. Never gonna stop, give it up. Such a dirty mind, always in it for the touch. Getting touched!
By Larona.
No one ever says this about the knack. Dirty little Berties.
Dirty mouths.
Dirty Berties, always looking to get a little bit of get a little bit of action going on, Something for the weekend, sir. That's what they used to say in barbershops when they gave you condoms.
And was also the name of Hardfire's debut album.
Something for the weekend, sir?
No, just something for the weekend.
Okay.
I think, anyway.
Impolite not to call you sir.
Yeah, they didn't care. They were naughty boys, Hardfire.
Could have been madam.
They were a little bit on the edge.
Sir or madam. When was the last time you went to a barber's? Can I just ask that?
Are you asking that because my hair is long? Or
no, because I talked about barbers giving out condoms. Not giving out. I think you had to pay for them, maybe.
The barbers would be... I'm going to say 2019 because the last haircut I had was by my aunt. She's a hairdresser, so
Did you not have a haircut in the first 3 months of 2020?
I might have done, but I don't know. I think I probably would have had it before I went back home for Christmas.
For the listeners, Andy currently looks like Cousin It. So if you need a visual visual stimulation, I'm just having a little fun, guys. I'm just having a little fun. It is long, is what I would say.
Probably the longest I've ever had it.
When did you get your hair cut by your aunt?
I think it's almost a year now.
I think it was summertime last year, right?
I think I went back about July and got it cut then.
It feels like now it is less unruly than it was then.
Yeah.
But maybe don't jump in and say, yeah, like that's a good thing. I think that's because I've adjusted my expectations of haircuts during the pandemic. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Because I didn't do what you did, which was I didn't shave my head during any of this.
Well,
and I wish I had.
More for you.
I really missed that.
You did say that you wanted to shave it all off, but your mother stopped you.
She kept moaning.
Can I say one thing to you now?
Yeah.
If I want to shave my head, I'm not going to call my mother for permission. And I'm not saying you called your mother for permission. She was in the room while you were having your hair cut, right? Mm-hmm. She got a little bit more power in that situation. Yeah. But if my mum was in the room with me, I'd have just been like, it's all coming off.
Well, you did yours yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Over a bin bag.
I know, I'm getting used to this now.
Yeah? Are you going to keep it? You're going to...
I don't know, I might.
You're giving off like surfer vibes. I mean, not a good surfer, but more like a web surfer. How about that?
I might do.
There's a different kind of surfing in the 21st century, guys.
You know, these are the questions we need to ask ourselves these days.
But like, here's where it gets. I think the moment it becomes problematic, not in like the classic sense of problematic, but in the different sense of problematic, is if the beard doesn't get cut as well. But you're doing a good job of keeping that in trim.
I didn't.
you for a lot, yeah.
That was almost.
Honey, I know.
That was like a 9-monther.
Yeah, that kind of felt like that was
full term.
Yeah, because when you had your hair cut, you didn't have your beard trimmed.
Nah.
You trimmed it yourself maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah,
but I think you trimmed it previously in the pandemic.
The beard was last. People are loving this conversation. The beard was last trimmed.
Hey, this is an insta-skip episode as far as I'm concerned.
In November, I shaved the beard because I did it for Movember.
Okay.
And then I let it just grow from there.
Wait, November of last year? 2020?
Yeah.
Not 2019?
No.
I don't remember that then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I shaved it short. I didn't shave it fully, but I shaved it shorter. So yeah, so these are the questions we need to ask ourselves this year, guys. I mean, it's like, when will your hair get cut?
Can you use hashtag coward for Andy for not shaving it down to just a mustache last year?
We need to ask ourselves, you know, what is it like now that we have to actually speak to people again?
Mm-hmm.
And the third question we need to ask is, what happened in the Conjuring universe up to now? Because some people have been keeping up to date with this franchise all the time.
Yeah, some people have. Not me. I finally watched La Llorona yesterday.
So,
I'm now really interested to see the Guatemalan film La Llorona that came out last year. Yeah. That is apparently very good. It's on Shudder, I think, so I will check it out. It was nominated for Best International Film at the Oscars, I believe. Oh. Or if it wasn't, it was on the shortlist. So I'm very excited to watch that now because I think there is a good chance they maybe made that in a response to The Curse of La Llorona.
So what we thought we'd do is, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Mm-hmm. Remarkable series, by the way. Remarkable that it's made as much money as it has.
Well, the new film's coming out. Mm-hmm. Like it's out now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been out for a couple of weeks now.
And we thought, what better way to really engross ourselves into that franchise than going, what's happened so fast? So, for me, The Conjuring, I don't know if I've ever seen any of them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the same as the Insidious franchise. Like, it's the same film. Mm-hmm. And that's all I know, because I think they both have, what's his face in it? Who's the main guy from Conjuring?
Patrick Wilson.
And he's Insidious, yeah?
Yes.
And so for me, those are the exact same franchises. Mm. But you know me, I'm a little coward boy. Hashtag coward. Get it trending. I
knew it would come in handy.
I don't watch many horror films. Mm. You, as our horror extraordinaire.
Sure, why not?
Mr. Horror, as they call you.
They do call me Mr. Horror.
Who's that man walking down the street? It's Mr. Horror.
So
tapping his feet.
So yeah, The Conjuring is something of a sort of modern horror marvel in terms of it being a franchise juggernaut that, you know, it all stemmed from a relatively unassuming film in 2013. Yeah. It's James Wan behind it. And obviously James Wan had tremendous success previously with Saw, and I think Insidious actually predates it. And obviously the one thing that we know about James Wan is that he's got a thing for puppets. Mm. We know that. Little dolls, things on strings, things not on strings. He loves them all. If it's inanimate, he'll make it animate.
Biggest Pinocchio exposition.
Hey, I'm surprised that he's not doing the Pinocchio movie, because he would be a shoo-in, surely. Like that or the Thunderbirds reboot, but it's not live action, it's still the puppets, except they're all trying to kill each other. But yeah, since 2013, when the first Conjuring movie came out, it's now had, 8 films? Mm-hmm. And a further 2 on the way already. And it kind of feels like, I mean, it's grossed $1.9 billion worldwide.
So much money.
Which I've just read, it puts it second as the second highest grossing horror franchise. And I dispute this kind of behind Godzilla.
That's not horror.
But the thing is, certain ones, you can read it as horror because it came, certainly in the 50s when it came out, it was part of that movement of horror films.
You can say some are horrible.
Yeah, but weirdly, you wouldn't say that the one that everyone agrees is horrible is horrible.
What, King of Monsters?
Okay, fine. One of the two.
Godzilla vs. Kong, tour de force of cinema.
It is astonishing that Godzilla King of the Monsters isn't the worst Godzilla movie.
Oh, it is.
You think so? I know that your argument is I would rather watch the 98 Godzilla because you have fun with it.
It's a great film.
But the thing is, it's not like you have fun with it in an ironic sense. Where
I genuinely enjoy myself.
Yeah, you have fun with it in that it is maybe in your top 5 films of all time.
It's the film I've owned the most times. On different formats.
I don't know if that should be a thing that you're proud of.
I owned it twice on DVD.
Why? Oh, at the same time?
Yeah. I thought I'd lost it, so I bought it again.
Why, do you realise you just put it second in the pile of DVDs instead of on top? Right, so, back to The Conjuring. So yeah,
Conjuring, am I right in saying, sorry to cut you off immediately as you start talking, Conjuring is like one of the best examples of something that isn't the MCU having been able to do franchise.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, it's up there with, so, for example, MCU, Fast and Furious, and then I'd say The Conjuring is the third in that trifecta. Like, I think, certainly, The Conjuring is proof that Warner Brothers can do a cinematic universe properly.
Arguably, I would say The Conjuring, without any real basis or knowledge, is probably a more successful version than Fast and Furious at the moment, because The Conjuring has multiple films that are outside of that original through line.
But also it doesn't have the spine that Fast and Furious does.
True.
Because if you're thinking about it, this is now Devil Made Me Do It is the third mainline Conjuring movie. Okay. So there's this kind of weird discrepancy where in 2013 to 2021, so we're talking 8 years, it's only had 3 installments, so it's not like you're getting a yearly dose of, it's not like when they started doing Saw films and they just went, right, well, we're releasing one every year.
Yeah.
Or it's not like, Fast and Furious, I think there was a point where there was it Fast 8 came out and then Hobbs and Shaw came out the next year, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Or there was a 1 year gap or whatever. It's not quite with that same frequency. Although, if you think... So, the release dates for the movies. Conjuring in 2013. Annabelle in 2014. Conjuring 2 2016. Annabelle Creation 2017. The Nun 2018. Curse of La Llorona 2019. Annabelle Comes Home 2019. The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It 2021. And it would have come out in 2020 had the pandemic not happened.
Yeah.
So actually... They kind of are pumping them out every year, I guess, but it's just you've got the spin-offs. But they kind of treat the spin-offs... I'd say that the spin-offs are more... They want you to think that they are more closely tied into the universe than they actually might be.
Yeah.
Especially when I go through this timeline in a second, you'll see that some of the links, and clearly because they've been made after the Conjuring movies... Some of the links are A, retconned to build them into the universe, and B, are tenuous, I would say. Or, it feels like, this is very much a shoehorned link in. So, it is successful, and it has done very well for Warner, New Line Cinema and Atomic Monster. And, it's proof that you can build a mainline horror franchise. This is the problem, is that I think... For me, I've got a difficult relationship with these because I don't enjoy the Conjuring movies, and I think the problem is they are very by the numbers. They're pretty formulaic. I don't think they're particularly scary. It's just the thing they do is they have the jump scares in there that they know will get people, and they have some sort of character designs that are probably better than the movie that surrounds them.
Well, they've got to have jump scares. Otherwise, how are you going to have that night vision camera inside the cinema and have people going, whoa!
Yeah, and it kind of feels like it's trading off a lot of a lot of what the first movie feels like it acts as a blueprint that the others more or less follow pretty rigidly. You know, the location changes, but the larger film around it are basically just doing exactly the same thing.
A lot of creepy children, I'm guessing.
Yeah, creepy children. Well, yeah, actually, I was going to dispute that, but then I realised that actually Annabelle is all based on creepy children, so yeah.
Like, even if it's not, this is a creepy child, it's a case of creepy stuff's going to happen to this child.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess that's it. I mean, so, first of all, just before we get into it then, I'll give you a brief overview of what the series is. So, it's loosely based, and probably about as loose as, like, it is as loose can be with that. It's basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre loose. You know, it's not based on true events. It's based on real people who actually existed. And yeah, okay, maybe it delves into some of their case files, but a lot of the stuff that surrounds it is completely nonsense. So, Ed and Lorraine Warren are our sort of protagonists through the mainline Conjuring movies. They are real-life demonologist and medium who investigated various different and became sort of celebrities in the world of supernatural investigation with regarding to hauntings and things like that. And it follows their adventures. It kind of feels, and a great example is in La Llorona, there is a bit where one of the kids is watching an episode of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like it's just a Scooby-Doo franchise. Which is not a bad thing necessarily. It's just kind of, you know, if you know that that's what you're getting into, it is kind of things that go bump in the night and we have to investigate why they're doing it.
Yeah.
But usually the end game is always the same. Like,
it's a demon.
Yeah, but also, it's usually the same demon. That's the interesting thing.
I would have got away if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Okay, so the reason that we're doing this episode is because if you're going in to watch The Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It and you haven't seen any of the other Conjuring movies, this might be a good place to just catch up on what's happened. Mm-hmm. If you have no interest in it, it is batshit insane how much has happened up until this point. And if you've got a passing interest, or you're a fan of the series and you've watched everything, this puts it in chronological order, the things that have happened.
So, can I ask, so the Warrens, am I right in saying, you may or may not know this, am I right in saying they did some kind of, like, thing where they're like, oh, we will give some money where if you can prove, like, that we're wrong or something like that? Were they one of those kind of people who went...
Yeah, I think they got involved in some of that stunt stuff, maybe.
But it's kind of like, oh, we can prove that if you can't prove that we're wrong, we'll give you money or something like that. I seem to remember that being a case.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I don't really read up on this stuff, but I have a feeling that they probably wouldn't have shied away from that stunt stuff that a lot of mediums and paranormal investigators tend to get involved in.
Because they have their own museum or something, don't they? With all the stuff that they've got, and the Annabelle dolls in there. Yeah.
So we'll get into that in just a second anyway, but yeah, they sort of made a career of being these investigators. I think Lorraine Warren passed away relatively recently, because if I remember correctly, Annabelle Come Home was maybe dedicated to her. I think. And she'd acted as a sort of consulting producer on the films, I'm pretty sure, for a while. So, you know, she'd had a say in how they came out. But obviously these are highly dramatized versions of the events that actually occurred. So, we'll start at the very beginning then. So this is the brief history of the Conjuring universe in chronological order.
It's what everyone wanted.
So, we start in the Dark Ages.
Ooh. And was it fucking dark?
Yes, everyone's favourite line from Hellboy 2019. They were called the Dark Ages because they were fucking dark. It's one of the worst lines of script I've ever heard.
The opening line as well.
And the thing is, Hellboy itself could have got off to a better start. I don't think it could have achieved much because it was toilet from minute 1 to minute 95 or whatever.
But we're in the Dark Ages in the Conjurverse.
Yeah, so Dark Ages, and I've had a tricky time. I've had to pull this information from 3 different sources, and I can't quite work out when it is, but dates range from the 5th to the 10th century because it's just the Dark Ages. So we've just got to work within that parameter. So a Satan-worshipping Romanian duke attempts to open a portal to hell in a castle that he's built in Romania.
As they do.
The Catholic Church arrive and seal the portal by dousing it with the blood of Christ.
They just carry that shit on them at all times.
Well, they know that this is going on. They go because of...
Yeah, but how much of that stuff do they have?
Well, enough to, close up a portal to hell if they need to. So it's in a sort of glass orb.
In case of emergency, break glass.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And then there's a little vial of blood inside there. Now, what I would say is remember the vial of blood, because he's a major character in this.
What?
Christ, I mean. So, yeah, they sort of pour the vial of blood of Christ onto the portal to hell, which seals it back up.
Okay.
And that is, so the demon that is coming through at that point is Valak. Now, remember that name as well, because that name will come up tons and tons of times. So that is all stuff that happens in The Nun. This is I think it's probably explained in a flashback or something like that in The Nun. I can't remember where it happens, but that's what happens. Fast forward. So we're going from the 10th century to 1673.
That's a big fast forward.
Big jump.
Nothing happens in that time.
Hey, you know what? We're not just jumping time. We're jumping space as well. Ooh. Not another planet, obviously. That would be insane. We're going from Romania to Mexico.
Okay.
So, the mother of 2 children in Mexico drowns those 2 children in a fit of rage when she finds that her husband is cheating on her with another woman and wants to take away the things that are most important to him.
Okay.
His kids, because clearly she's not important, is what she's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes overwhelmed with grief at what she's done. God forsakes her and curses her to basically walk the earth as a spirit. Mm-hmm. And she tries to find children to replace her children.
Why did God do that? Is that in your notes?
My notes here say, because God apparently didn't read the forgive and forget part of the Bible.
He's there just like, I only just wanted her to walk the earth. I didn't want her to do the children thing as well.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like at that point, you've thrown away your entry into heaven, for sure.
He's just like, chalk this one up as my bad.
So, you'll take any power that is saying like, do this for me instead.
Yeah.
So she now walks the earth trying to find children to replace the ones that she killed. Interestingly, when she finds them, that doesn't just stop her. Mm. That's the interesting thing about that. So, 2 children dead, you would think that if she finds another 2 children, that would replace them.
She always wanted more children.
Well, we'll get into this in a bit because we've got to jump forward about 6 centuries. But it's kind of interesting because when she gets these children, she starts, there is one point where she does something nice for the child, but then is also, trying to drown the child.
Okay.
But I think I know why she's trying to drown the child, because she drowned her original children, so maybe she's trying to get them to join her.
Well, you've got to.
But also, why would the children not join her?
You've got to, because of film.
It does say here, this all happens because of film.
Basically, there's nothing scary about ghost woman giving children gifts. Yeah. The parents might be like, I'm a little bit freaked out by this, but you got your new PS4, so...
Also, I would love to find out when the first wedding dress was invented.
Okay.
Because in 1673, she is wearing, a proper full wedding dress. But it's also the outfit that she drowns her children in.
Wedding dress?
Yeah, I don't know. It's part of her look, I guess. And, this is all based on a real-life legend in terms of sort of Latin American culture. So, they've drawn inspiration there. I don't know whether... I think the veil is probably important to it. So that all occurs 1673 rather, in the Curse of La Llorona.
Apparently mid-19th century.
Okay.
Apparently there were always kind of gowns and stuff for weddings, so I guess that as long as weddings have existed.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. Anyway, so we're going from 1673 Mexico to 1863.
Okay.
America. The good old United States.
Finally, the comforting tones of America.
Well, comforting.
Oh, no.
First word here is a witch called Bathsheba.
No, not Bathsheba.
Sacrifices her baby to the devil.
Stop doing this.
Before killing herself, and then but before she does so, she puts a curse on her land so that none may take it going forward. Any who tries is doomed.
None may take it.
N-O-N-E, it says here.
Oh, okay. Jumping the gun there.
Jumping the nun there.
Oh, at least this one knew what she was doing. Like, La Llorona is like, oh, I've done this, and oh no, God's forsaken me.
Yeah.
How could I do what I did? This one's like, oh no, this is for the devil. I know what's happening.
Yeah, And to be fair, she's joining the ranks of Romanian Duke who tried to summon the devil.
Okay.
So, they're all doing things for the devil. So...
say, the devil made them do it.
Yeah, you could say that. They... So she curses her land so that any who take it, or try to take it, will then be doomed. Mm-hmm. World War II.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, those events happen in The Conjuring.
Okay.
In a flashback, obviously, or in like a story. World War II. Allied forces drop bombs on an abbey in Romania, which has been repurposed from a castle. Do you want to guess which castle it was?
Dracula's.
Well, it was the one that the Satan-worshipping Romanian Duke built.
I was really hoping this would have vampires.
I guess it could be. Transylvania is in Romania, so yeah. It might be. I guess that's where you draw inspiration from for that.
Yeah.
But Dracula didn't ever seem like he was interested in the devil, did he?
No, I don't know what his whole backstory was.
I think he just liked him. He's a Dracula. Anyway, so they drop bombs on an abbey in Romania. These blasts then reopen the portal to hell.
No,
so it proves that bombs are stronger than Christ's blood. Valak, remember her, from earlier, is released from hell.
Okay.
But confined to the walls of the abbey, or the grounds of the abbey, because of
plot,
the power of nuns. So then, over the next 10 years, Valak then starts offing the nuns who are in this abbey, praying to keep this, because basically they've got to keep up a perpetual prayer.
Okay.
To contain the power of Valak.
Gonna get dry mouth doing all that talking.
So
I bet that's never discussed in the nun.
It actually was. They take it in shifts.
Why didn't they just have why didn't they just record themselves?
And
then just have it playing on a tape?
It's not really the same. I think the act of praying is more important than a recording of praying.
That probably makes sense. Yeah.
I think religion is very much a case of put your back into it. 1946.
Okay.
California.
So do all the nuns die, or is it just over?
Well, this is 1946. This is a couple of years after the events where Valak is released. So during this time, just remember, for the next 10 years, until let's say the mid-1950s, Valak is offing nuns.
Okay.
We'll get to the point where the last nun dies, don't worry. We'll get to a timestamp for that.
That's good.
Oh, sorry, spoiler alert, the last nun dies. So, Valak is disguised as a nun. Did I say that?
No.
So Valak starts walking the corridors disguised as a nun.
Do none of the other nuns go, I don't recognise you?
I think in a nunnery, it's just a case of, there's new nuns all the time. They're all dressed the same. They're like penguins. They all look the same. So, 1946, California.
That's the entire plot of, what's it called? Sister Act, isn't it? That you could put somebody in a nunnery and no one would know.
Exactly right. There's a Whoopi Goldberg in every nunnery.
Was the nun disguised as Whoopi Goldberg?
No, sort of disguised as sort of, a demonic-looking nun.
Why do they always look demonic? Like, read the room. There's not many demons in here.
I think scariness is important.
Sorry, we tried to get to 1946 for a while.
1946, where are we? I'll tell you now, California, USA. So, California.
Yeah.
A couple called the Mullins lose their daughter Annabelle, remember that name, in a car accident.
Oh, no.
And they pray to see their daughter again.
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't listen.
Oh,
but
no,
a demon does.
Of course. Like, does God not realise that if he just listens to like some of these people, we'd have less demons?
So this demon sort of arrives and convinces them to transfer its spirit into the Annabelle doll.
Okay.
Which was a doll that the daughter had.
Creepy looking doll, though.
Yeah. But interestingly, I think this would probably... So, the actual Annabelle doll is a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, it doesn't look as creepy as it does in the film.
But for legal reasons, obviously, because Raggedy Ann is an actual product, they couldn't use it. But also, it doesn't look scary at all.
No.
So they built this sort of porcelain face doll instead that is much creepier.
Oh, yeah,
looking.
Looks... I'll give it to him.
I would be interested to find out if this 1946 predates the invention of Raggedy Ann. Because that's kind of an important factor. Don't look it up, though. It's not that important. Anyway, so...
their daughter had this doll already that looked... So did it look creepy?
So it was like I guess it was her favourite doll or whatever.
And did it look like that before the demon?
Oh, the doll was always that doll, yeah.
Why would you buy your kid that doll?
Well, if you think about it, when you see like old photographs, sometimes you'll see toys in them that you're like, these are nightmare fuel. And you do wonder like what was... But I guess, simpler times, people were happy with... Or the thing that always comes back to is like, oh, well, back in the day, kids knew how to behave themselves. Yeah, because they got bought shitty fucking toys if they didn't. So, this demon then convinces them to transfer its spirit into that Annabelle doll.
Go on,
it's not called Annabelle. I can't remember what the doll's called. So, they transfer the spirit into the doll.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then they call in priests to wallpaper up their daughter's closet with Bible pages.
Yep.
And then they lock the doll inside that closet and then lock the door to the daughter's room.
Okay,
so the doll is on a chair in a closet.
Yeah.
Wallpapered by Bible pages that have been blessed by the priests.
To stop the demon from getting out, I guess.
To contain the demon.
But why did they put the demon in the doll?
Because I watched this movie. This is Annabelle Creation, by the way. I watched this movie a few years ago. I can't remember what the motivation was other than they wanted to see their daughter again and I think they got tricked by it.
Okay. I'm going to put it down to trickery, but I don't understand.
Well, yeah, because there's like, the bit from the trailer where it's like, your soul. Do you remember that?
Mortal Kombat where he goes, your soul is mine.
Oh, yeah. Kind of Mortal Kombat does steal from Annabelle.
Or Annabelle stole from Mortal Kombat.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think it is that.
There's that whole fighting tournament that Annabelle puts together as well.
So they lock the doll inside and close up the daughter's room, and they don't go back in. This is 1946, Annabelle Creation.
Okay.
Meanwhile, 1952, the last remaining nun.
Oh no! Now
we're back in Romania. Sacrifices herself so that Valak can't escape the abbey because she didn't kill the nun and take her soul. The nun killed herself to stop her from taking it.
Okay.
So she's one soul short because there is a nun who didn't die in that abbey that she needed to have killed in the abbey. Right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's a complication about kind of nuns and suicide, but...
Yeah, but this is the thing, is there is actually a moral dilemma about it at the beginning of that movie, where the nun is basically told by the other nun, even though it is against God or whatever, you must do it because this thing is more powerful than we would want. And if you release this into the world, that is a greater sin.
Okay.
I think. I remember that conversation
I'm
happening.
I'm glad
I think I might be giving it a little bit more emphasis than they do in the movie. She might have just gone, you know what you need to do. And she goes, what? Off I go.
Bad nun.
So the body is discovered by a delivery man named Frenchie.
I don't feel good about Frenchie's chances.
So word goes to the Vatican that this has happened. So Michael Smiley dispatches a priest.
Michael Smiley?
Yeah, Michael Smiley dispatches a priest to investigate this, along with a trainee nun.
Oh, no.
So...
Why would you give another nun?
So the priest and this nun, Irene, go to Romania and go to the abbey to investigate. Valak starts terrorizing them.
Of course.
While they're trying to sort of uncover the mystery of what's happened here and what it is that's haunting them and how they can fix it. They realise, we're going to have to get access to the blood of Christ that is sealed up in the abbey.
Unfortunately, they got vials of that stuff.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. It's sealed up in an abbey, so in a part of an abbey that they can't get to, so they have to get to it. They manage to contain Valak while they're doing this with the help of the ghost of the nuns who died. That's a real bit. Frenchie is then incapacitated by Valak while they're retrieving the blood of Christ. Irene then drinks the blood of Christ and then spits it out at Valak's face.
Why didn't she just throw it?
I think she had to... There's something. Maybe she throws it as a decoy. Look,
let's be honest.
Can I tell you one thing now? I haven't rewatched all of these movies this morning to get a fresh feel for this. I'm going on mainly on things that
I know
I've read on the Wikipedia thing that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this.
But I think, and I might be wrong here.
Yeah,
I think she just wanted to say she drank the blood of Christ.
Well, there's no. So she doesn't drink it. She holds it in her mouth.
Yeah. But she wanted to have a story to tell, think about it.
Sure.
She wants to go to the nunneries, the Nun Convention 2017, and be like, hey girls, who here's ever had the blood of Christ in her mouth? Me.
2017?
Yeah, she
1952 this is.
Yeah, she goes for a while.
She's in her 20s, I think, at this point.
Yeah. She's had the blood of Christ in her mouth.
She's not doing any international travel. Also, nun conventions probably aren't a thing.
Maybe they are.
Well, I guess when they elect a new pope and stuff, maybe.
When they elect a new nun.
A chief nun.
Yeah.
So Irene spits Christ blood into Valak's face. Valak is then sucked back into hell, and I think the portal then just seals up again.
Because, the plot no longer needs it, so we might
because the demon's covered in Christ blood.
Yeah.
I figure that's enough. But I think the demon got... because the demon got covered in Christ blood in the first instance, so that's fine. Mm-hmm. So, that makes sense.
Let's hope no one's out there bombing Romania anytime soon.
So you'd be glad to know. That's the final action in The Nun.
Okay.
We now move on. 1958. The Mullins, remember them from earlier? The couple who were bereaved?
Yes.
Well, they open their home after years of recluse.
No.
They open their home to a nun.
Oh, no.
A nun who has a picture of her at the Abbey in Romania, by the way, years before. So she went there on a trip to visit, I think.
Okay.
So if this film came out, this is Annabelle Creation again. This film came out before The Nun, and clearly this was the Marvel stinger. This was the Nick Fury going, I'm putting together a team. So a nun and some recently evicted orphans. The orphanage shut down, and they were, they're now homeless. So the Mullins decide to open their home because they feel like these good deeds will go some way to counteracting the fact that they, put the soul of the demon into the doll. So they're told, don't go into Annabelle's room. That's the only room that's not on offer here. We've got loads of rooms in this house. So some dumb kid opens up Annabelle's room, looks around and goes, oh, okay, whatever. I'll look in this closet here. Opens up the closet. The Annabelle doll's in there.
Yeah.
The demon attacks the girl.
But it's covered by Bible pages.
Yeah, but like you've opened up the doors now.
Oh.
The doors were covered in Bible pages too, right?
Silly little girl. She's a doll now.
So the demon attacks the girl and then manages to possess the girl later in the film through the power of vomit.
Okay.
Which is like a big thing in Demonland.
A classic.
Mm-hmm.
Classic demon move.
The possessed girl then cuts the Mullins' mother in half.
What?
Yeah, like it just goes on like a murderous rampage.
But how?
I guess with demon claws. I think that was demon claws.
The little girl has demon claws?
But she's possessed by the demon.
But that means the demon can just be outside of her, like...
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So why does it need to possess her?
Well, no, it can't exist outside of her. It needs her as a vessel, but it can sort of be...
It cuts her in half.
Look, there's a bit where it says your soul, okay? All right, you like it? You like it now?
Okay, back on board.
Okay. So anyway, I think the mother is played by Miranda Otto from The Lord of the Rings, by the way, in case you were wondering. Eowyn.
Okay, I know that one.
The horse riding one. Anyway, so the possessed girl cuts the mum in half.
In half?
And then the nun,
yeah,
not the nun, this nun.
The other nun.
Nun Rachel? Sounds about right. I reserve the right to be incorrect about the name. But the good nun then becomes the hero and locks the girl in the closet again, in the house, in the room, to contain it.
Yeah.
They'll worry about what needs to happen in future. The girl then escapes in a hole in the closet wall.
Okay. Which means that... So it wasn't perfectly covered... The pages weren't perfectly covered.
No. So they were, but there's now a massive hole. I think there's like a plot thing that happens, like in the fight outside of the room, like the wall gets damaged, and it just so happens that it's the wall into the thing.
What you're saying is plot reasons.
So this girl then escapes through a hole in the closet wall and travels south to Santa Monica, California. She's found and put up for adoption under her newly assumed name. What do you think her name might be?
La Llorona.
Annabelle.
Okay. I knew it would be Annabelle.
Annabelle Creation. That's. I think that maybe is everything that's happened in Annabelle Creation now. So I think we're done with that.
Question.
Yes.
Where's the doll at this point? Does she have the doll with her? Because surely the doll is important.
No, she doesn't have the doll with her. No, she doesn't, because the next thing happens.
Okay.
The doll is in the house, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, 1970, so we're jumping forward 12 years. Mm-hmm. The Annabelle doll is brought by soon-to-be parents John and Mia to fill their soon-to-be born child's terrifying doll room. So we check in with John and Mia, who are expectant parents. They have a room already decorated for the baby. Yeah. You know, got to be prepared. But they've already decorated with it, like 40 dolls. And John decides a good thing to do would be to buy my soon-to-be child's room this fucking creepy doll. So he comes home and he's like, here, I got this present for you. And the mother, she goes, okay, this is great. And then it opens it up and sees it. It's just like this creepy little hell. This is terrible,
yeah.
I think she might actually like it in the movie. I don't know. Anyway, turns out their next door neighbours are the adoptive parents of the girl who escaped.
What are the chances?
So, So the girl who escaped from Annabelle Creation House.
Do they
And remember, this film was made before Annabelle Creation, so all of this stuff has been retconned when the child escaped and was put up for adoption. Was called Annabelle.
I like to think that they, like Power Ranger style, they join fists and become like a Megazord of one Annabelle doll.
Okay. Sadly, that doesn't happen here. She does join a cult.
What, the child?
So she grows up and joins a cult in her sort of 20s. Yeah, because this is 12 years after.
Still got the demon inside her.
Still possessed by a demon.
And has been her entire life.
As far as I can tell, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so joins a cult, kills her adoptive parents, before she then breaks in next door to John and Mia's house.
Classic demon move.
The police arrive and kill one of the cult members, while Annabelle, assumed name, stabs herself whilst holding the doll.
Okay.
Thus transmitting the demon back into the doll.
Mm-hmm.
So the doll is now where it was 12 years ago.
Exactly.
In California with a demon in it. So, this then causes a series of disturbances in John and Mia's house because now the doll that is in their house that they kept despite being covered in a dead cultist's blood.
Yeah. I suppose the baby doesn't know that.
Yeah, but like the parents know. They were there while this break-in happened. Anyway, so Mia then starts investigating the goings-on in the house and sort of trying to work out why they're happening. Alfre Woodard is in this movie.
Okay.
You know, esteemed actress who's terrific in Clemency last year, one of my favourite films of last year, is also in Annabelle. Whatever. So she tells her that this demon wants Mia's soul. I don't quite know how she knows this. She works in a bookshop or something. Hey.
Read a book on it.
Well, yeah, I guess so. So the couple's priest, Father Perez, takes the doll and tries to get it exorcised. But the doll possesses Father Perez and then abducts the newborn child of John and Mia.
Oh my God.
Demanding Mia's soul in exchange for the baby. Alfre Woodard then sacrifices herself to the demon to keep Mia safe because Alfre Woodard blames herself for the death of her own child years ago. There is so much children death in here. I might have to put a spoiler alert, not a spoiler alert, a trigger warning at the beginning, just saying this is what the whole franchise is based on. Anyway, so Alfre Woodard then ends up dead on the pavement at the bottom of this high-rise, but the Annabelle doll she was clutching when she sacrificed herself is gone.
What?
It was there on the ground, and now it is gone.
Walked away.
Little trotted off.
That's creepy. Just imagine that, seeing that little porcelain doll just running off.
So that all occurs in Annabelle.
Okay.
Then, Ed and Lorraine Warren, first appearance of them in the actual franchise now.
Yes.
This is now in The Conjuring.
Okay.
They're aiding a priest in an exorcism of a French-Canadian farmer who happens to be Frenchie from the monastery.
No.
Yes. Who was possessed by
a demon.
Valak before she died.
Hold on. But Valak went through the portal.
Yeah, so there's a thing like I think did a bit of possession and the spirit of Valak went into Frenchie.
Just dabbled in a bit of possession.
From what I remember, I think it's like a time bomb situation where Valak isn't activated in Frenchie immediately.
Okay.
I think. Anyway. Oh, also, bear in mind, this bit is in The Conjuring.
Which is the first film of all of them.
In 2013. And then Frenchie himself actually crops up in 2018's The Nun.
Yeah.
So, I think they may have retconned a little bit here. So he grabs Lorraine whilst doing this exorcism and shows her a vision of Ed's death. She freaks out and goes into isolation for a week. And that's all that happens in Conjuring regarding that part of the story.
I thought you were just going to say that's the whole of the Conjuring done.
1971.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Annabelle doll resurfaces in a pawn shop. And it's purchased as a gift for a nursing student. Terrible gift for anyone. We've already established this, let alone a grown woman. The student then calls in the Warrens.
Yeah.
Because some crazy stuff starts happening.
Well, because you're like, hey, my friend has brought me this doll as a gift. Are they possessed? Because I don't think that they're my friend anymore.
So the Warrens come in and start investigating the fact that, hey, all these weird occurrences started happening in your house. So this all happens in The Conjuring.
Oh, so this is Annabelle in The Conjuring.
Yes, this is
before
Annabelle's appearance in the Conjuring movie.
Okay.
The Warrens, this is in Annabelle Comes Home. The Warrens then take Annabelle home the doll home
To their home.
from this student's house, but it happens in a different movie,
Okay.
and they seal it in their artifact room, which is basically the evidence locker of demons. That happens in Annabelle Comes Home. Meanwhile,
is that room covered in Bible pages as well?
there's locks on the door.
Oh, okay.
And I think that works just fine. There's like 10 locks. So, meanwhile, at the same time, in 1971, this is now back in The Conjuring, the first movie. In Rhode Island, the Perron family move into a big house that just happens to be
Haunted.
the one that Bathsheba cursed. Remember her, the witch?
Okay.
The witch who sacrificed a child for
I
Satan?
do remember this now.
Yeah. The house she cursed so that anyone who tries to take her land gets doomed. Yeah, guess what? Big old house in Rhode Island. This family moved there.
Oh, no. Has nobody been there since?
And guess what? Well, people have been there since, I think,
And
but they haven't
cursed.
lasted.
Oh, no.
So the mother, Carolyn, seeks out the Warrens after experiencing some supernatural events.
So there's like 3 different stories cracking off in The Conjuring.
There is, and there also really isn't. There basically is just this one.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff is just like...
Mentioned.
The Annabelle thing was just like a thing where it was like setting up the fact that they're good at their job.
Yeah.
Like how you see at the beginning of Judge Dredd, he does like a nice simple one
Yeah.
to prove that he can do the job. And then he goes on a more tricky case.
I was going to say Constantine, like he gets the thing in the mirror at the start so you know that he can do it. Do you remember the film Constantine?
I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through.
Oh, it's right at the beginning I'm talking about.
Okay, I don't think I've seen the beginning of it. Anyway, yeah, so it's just to prove that, you know, they know what they're up to. And also to say, would this doll work in its own film?
Maybe.
Let's see if there's an appetite for it. Okay, so the Warrens then decide to attempt to prove to the church that the Perron house is in fact haunted, so that the church will come and do an exorcism because they need them out of the house. I guess this family need the house. Fair enough. So they try and do this. They try and get evidence on camera of this ghost or this spirit existing. So the Perron family then move to a motel while they're doing this to try and... But, unfortunately, Carolyn's already been possessed by Bathsheba.
Oh, God's sake.
Carolyn then takes 2 of her kids back to the house because Bathsheba wants to kill them in the house.
Because we got to.
Yeah. Ed then has to perform the exorcism in the house because Bathsheba is inside Carolyn now, won't let her leave the house. Like, they open the door to try and take her out and, like, her flesh starts melting and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So they perform the exorcism in the basement. It doesn't really work that well. There's a lot of like, I think like because Ed's not a priest, he's a demonologist. I think he's kind of winging it slightly. He's saying some words wrong, whatever. But it turns out that demons really hate one thing more than anything else, and it's being called their name.
Oh no!
So Ed calls her Bathsheba, and then like she goes. Eh?
How did you know that name?
It does like a Scooby-Doo. And then Carolyn then vomits up demon blood. She's fully exorcised. They then get a lead on another case in Amityville.
We know that place.
From real life.
Ryan Reynolds has been there.
And they say, all right, we better go and have a look at this.
Oh my
Spoiler
God,
alert, they don't
it's a
investigate
horror.
it for 5 years. So that's all the events of The Conjuring.
Because that's one of the reasons why the Warrens are famous, aren't they?
Yeah,
Because
so that's
they're
their
involved in
that was their
Amityville.
big thing, was that they investigated the Amityville horror. 1972, 1 year after the events of The Conjuring, the Warrens go out of town on a case, and they leave their daughter Judy with the babysitter. The babysitter's friend comes over and opens up the Annabelle cabinet whilst trying to contact her dead father, who was killed in a car crash while she was driving, and she blames herself for it. And she's just trying to contact him and say that she's
Obviously, the
sorry.
way you do that is get the creepy-looking doll out.
Yeah, so the spirit of the Annabelle doll then gets let loose and starts causing all kinds of ruckus around the house. The parents are obviously not here, so your heroes, the Warrens, are not here.
Of course.
So it's left to the daughter of the Warrens, who just so happens to have an inkling of medium ability, just like her mother.
Of course. Sounds a lot like the plot of the Ghostbusters film starring Jack Black. Not Ghostbusters, sorry. Goosebumps film starring Jack Black. Where it's like, oh, we've got all these books by R.L. Stein. They're all coming to life. It's like, we've got all these paranormal things by the Warrens and they're all going to be coming to life.
Yeah. I don't know if they actually come to life on their own. I think it might just be the one spirit comes out and then starts infecting them. I saw this film a couple of years ago and I can't remember much about it. It's not very good. So... The babysitter's friend, who tried to contact her dad, then gets possessed and is exorcised by playing the video footage of the exorcism of Frenchie, which is seemingly a video of that is enough to do a proper exorcism.
So earlier when you said you can't just play a tape recorder because it's about effort.
But that's about praying. Although I guess exorcism's probably... It's
just praying with style, isn't it?
Yeah, as Toy Story said, it's just praying with style. So that is the events of Annabelle Comes Home.
Okay.
1973, 1 year later, widowed social worker Anna visits Patricia, who is a mother who has locked her sons in a closet. Where have we heard that before? Closets, children, demons. No good. So Anna decides to take a look inside the closet and finds these children in there.
Yeah.
Because she's the caseworker, she takes them into protective custody.
Okay, good on her.
So she leaves them with protective custody for the night. That night, the boys end up drowned in a river by La Llorona.
Oh, no.
Patricia...
They just can't get a break.
Patricia blames Anna for this because she was obviously keeping them safe by locking them inside this closet that had these weird sort of scrawlings on it.
Yeah.
And then tells Anna that she's now prayed to La Llorona to come and take Anna's children and return hers.
And I bet she just happens to have 2 children.
Yeah, she does.
Of course.
So, La Llorona then attacks that family.
Yeah.
Father Perez comes back. The one who was inhabited by the Annabelle demon a couple of years ago.
Okay.
A lot of returning characters in this. You really have to pay attention.
Good to see him back.
Yeah, well, he rocks up and he says, look, I can't, like, as the church, we could book in an exorcism, but it takes ages.
We got a booked calendar. Like, there's a lot
Basically,
of stuff going
he's like,
on.
There's a waiting list. Like, there's a, it takes ages to get that happening. So, I can't help. The church can't officially help. However, I can point you in the direction of this ex-priest, who is now a sort of healer with unorthodox methods.
Okay.
So he gives them that guy's contact details.
Do we know this guy?
No, this is Raphael, new character.
Oh.
So Raphael then uses that family as bait to bring out La Llorona.
Okay.
But then manages to seal La Llorona outside the house. Kind of, but at the same time, not at all. So here's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like, spoiler alert for everything that ever happens in any of these movies, I guess is useful at this point.
Yeah, but also, I think people have kind of clocked that by now.
What happens is, there's is it a tree maybe? There's seeds of a tree that she died under, or that she drowned her kids under.
Yeah.
And she can't cross this line of seeds when it's across the front door, right?
Okay.
There's a back door. That's what happens. Okay, so...
Okay.
No, wait, hang on. None of that makes sense. Well, so there's a back door, so it doesn't solve that problem. However, it doesn't matter anyway, because the line at the front door is broken.
Okay.
Because Patricia comes around. She's been released from custody because they didn't have anything to charge her with because La Llorona killed her kids, not her. Because she was taken in because obviously they thought, well, she's done it. Patricia then tries to get La Llorona to take these children. Or no, tries to take these children for herself.
Okay. So she's now La Llorona.
No.
Oh.
La Llorona's kind of a separate thing still. But anyway, La Llorona then is stabbed in the chest by a crucifix, which kills her.
Classic move. Why did nobody think to do that beforehand?
What happens to Patricia? Does she get shot?
She becomes La Llorona. So
No, she has to turn. She has a really quick change of heart. So she tries to take the kids, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, minutes later, is just like, go, save your children. It's like, you're the one who's put this evil on them. Anyway, so La Llorona gets stabbed in the heart by a crucifix, which destroys her. But does it because there's a scene at the end where Linda Cardellini, Anna, looks down at a puddle, and then some spooky music plays, and then you hear some kids laughing in the background, presumably hers, and then it sort of ends. What if she's now La Llorona?
There's now a second one.
I don't think so. Judging from upcoming projects, I don't think that this is happening. So that's the events of La Llorona.
Yes.
We're done with that now. Now, 1976, jumping forward 3 years, the Warrens are investigating Amityville now.
Yes, finally.
Took them 5 years to get round to this tip-off that they got.
But finally we get what we came for.
So while they're there, investigating, Lorraine sees a vision of Ed's death. Again.
This isn't.
But also sees Valak as the nun.
Oh.
This is Conjuring 2 that this happens in. So, Conjuring 2 then follows up. A year later, they travel to London.
So they've done Amityville now.
It's like a... It's like the case at the beginning of Judge Dredd, where you see that he's good at his job and he can do it, you know.
So, do you think they did that because they went, there's been like 2 films on the Amityville, maybe more on the Amityville horror, like...
There's been like 50 films on Amityville.
Really?
Yeah.
I know Amityville Horror and the remake starring Ryan Reynolds.
As a little post-credits teaser, we might list all of the Amityville films. But there are a lot of them, I'll tell you that now. So... The Hodgson family live in North London. And they're being haunted. The Warrens hear about this and they go, I think we should investigate.
They want a holiday.
But Lorraine isn't sure because she's worried that Ed might die.
She saw him getting killed
because she's seen this thing again.
Saw him getting killed by one of those guards with the big tall hats.
So...
he smiles afterwards and they go, that's how we do it.
So there's all sorts of spooky things going on inside the Hodgson's house.
You'd hope so.
Including a crooked man.
Oh no, not the crooked man. Mm-hmm. I've seen him.
And a former resident of the house who goes, my house, like that. Get out of my house.
Is that all they say?
Yeah. But it turns out none of those are real and it's just Valak again.
No.
So Lorraine identifies the demon as Valak. And says, you are Valak, you are protector of the seven seas or whatever.
Oh, you got me this time.
And we know one thing about demons, they hate hearing their own name. So Valak goes, and then disintegrates, I think.
I think they just have like a book of demon names and they just read through them.
Well, yeah, basically that is a thing that kind of happens. So she realizes that she... At one point previously, I think maybe during the... exorcism of Frenchie, she like stabbed Valak's name into a Bible she was holding or something, and she realizes that's the name of the demon. But like there's so many like a thing that they do in the series is they place little Easter eggs towards Valak throughout.
Okay.
As soon as they knew what they were doing with it anyway.
Yeah.
So like there's some alphabet blocks that spell out Valak and things like that. Nonsense. And she saves Ed from his death because she basically the vision of his death is like him impaled on a tree trunk, and she sees the tree that it is in London. So she saves him from the death.
It's just waving
by identifying Valak. So that's Conjuring 2. And that brings us up to date because that's 1977. They've completed it. Everything's fine. We don't have anything to go on now. We know that Devil Made Me Do It picks up in 1981 because in 1981 Arnie Johnson played not guilty on grounds of demonic possession.
Yes.
Which again is the only true part of this story. So that is it.
So that bit's true.
That there was a case where a defense team attempted to claim that their client was possessed by a demon, and the judge instantly went no.
Okay.
And it didn't stand.
Imagine that's exactly how this film goes.
So that's how that goes. So have you got any questions?
So many, and I don't think we have enough time for them.
Probably not.
But I'm glad that we now know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a whole lot of similar themes throughout all these films, I find.
Mm-hmm.
Are they good?
No. The thing is, this is the problem, is that to a horror aficionado, if that's what you called it at the beginning, I don't think there is much in them for a horror fan. I think they are perfect for mainstream movie watchers who want something that's a bit jumpy, because that's all they really are.
Yeah.
So I really feel like they're one of these films series that doesn't really have a sense of tension or a sense of dread or anything like that. It's just a case of, if it's quiet, you know it won't be in a minute.
Mm.
And you know that something will jump out of that bit of the shadows there.
Yeah.
And that's that. So on a very base level, they achieve what they're trying. I think they achieve what they are setting out to do, which is they make people jump, they make people scared, but it's the cheapest kind of scare. Mm. But that's fine, because these movies are made for like $20 million and they make over 100 million each.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And, you know, Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It is number 1 at the UK box office this week. That, you know, there is a reason people go and see these movies.
And they get
because they are so formulaic that if you've seen one, you know what you're going to get from the next. So if you didn't mind it the first time, then you're not going to mind it again.
Yeah.
So really, it is a case of just, you know, it is more of the same, maybe different characters, maybe a spin-off. They've got a Crooked Man movie in the works now, and another Nun movie, I think.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like, you know, what do you get out of this if you're someone who's really interested in horror? Probably nothing. Mm. It's popcorn entertainment, is what it is. It's kind of, you know, those mindless blockbuster action movies. You're just like, well, it's not good, but it follows the same formula that you've seen 1,000 times, and as such, it does the job it sets out to do, but it never tries to do anything too... It never tries to do anything too groundbreaking. Mm. And I guess maybe that's to its credit. But that's also why it's successful, because it never tries to switch it up.
Yeah.
The best of them is probably Annabelle Creation, I think. Yeah, I'd say so. Probably, I don't know, maybe. I think I cared more about that one than the others.
I remember you saying you liked one of the Annabelles, kind of.
I mean, it's by far the best of the Annabelles, for sure. Yeah, David F. Sandberg did it, who then went on to do Shazam. He'd done Lights Out a couple of years beforehand.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. And as you can tell, it's convoluted nonsense.
Yeah, well, thank you for...
I thought that was going to be a quick episode. I just checked the time. It wasn't.
No, there's a whole lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah, but I didn't think that there was that much stuff. Then I realised I'd written 2 full pages of A4 notes on it.
But no, thank you for taking us through it. Like, it's... For those who want to go into... Conjuring now, you now know what's happened.
Yeah, you now know exactly what's happened up to this point.
So you're ready to go.
And if you've not seen one of the Conjurings, you now know all of the notable things that have happened and all the things that have died.
Yeah, maybe we do need to put like a content warning at the start of this.
Yeah, I think
just to say, you know, a lot of talk of
I think
perishing.
I'll record a little thing.
Yeah, but thank you,
because that it's rough.
It's like halfway through. It happens a lot. Every film's got at least some of it.
Yeah.
Sort yourselves out.
Yeah.
But thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I not have done this episode?
No, it's been great. I had a lot of fun.
I could do another one. I had a different idea for an episode lined up. What do you think the future of cinema's going to be?
No,
you can tell this is a week that we were like, well, we've got to fill it with something.
I enjoyed
and this seemed like it was the most on-brand thing.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed like...
It is too dark, though, right?
Well, I've not watched a single one of these, so now I know exactly what these films are.
Yeah.
And going, I probably wouldn't enjoy them.
Okay, fair enough. Well, now we know for sure. We only had every suspicion that was the case before.
But thank you, Alex. Like, you've done a very good job there.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us as well for this week. If you like what you're hearing, give us a subscribe.
Yes.
Follow us on Twitter at DinosaurMan15. We're on Twitch, DinosaurManPod. Wherever you can get podcasts, just hit that subscribe. Let us know whether you're going to be going to watch The Conjuring.
Mm-hmm. And did the devil make you go?
Yes. Were you there because of an obligation? Because the devil's like, well, I bought you a ticket, so you got to come along now. You're like, oh, God, okay. Thank you to Johnny Neves as ever for the theme song.
It's a very different film, isn't it? The devil guilted me into it.
The devil peer pressured me into it.
Thanks to Johnny Neves for the theme song, and thank you to Andy. You've been the host.
Thank you, Alex. You've done the hard work today.
I know, I'm sweating like a beast.
So thank you. And guys, until next time, hey, what's this doll over here? I'm just going to take it out of this box and, oh no.
Okay, see you next week. Bye.
I'm Annabelle now.